What's up, guys? It's Doodoo Poker here, back for another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to play aces in the small blind versus the big blind for single raise pots. Okay, so this is a hand I played about 11 months ago on Ignition 200 NL. Okay, so I have ace of spades, ace of clubs. I raise 3x, my opponent calls. Okay, now the flop comes king of spades, 10 of clubs, 6 of clubs. Okay, let's follow along here. So we have our trusty aces. The flop comes king of spades, 10 of clubs, 6 of clubs. Now, first thing to note, flop sizing. A solver mostly goes small, okay? Now, if this flop was like ace king 6, you would overbet, in theory, I'm saying. But because big blind can have king 10 off, king 10 suited, king 10 off, king 10 suited, pocket sixes, he has a lot of really strong hands. So you don't have the nut advantage. So you go small. Okay. Now, let's look at MDA for this spot. Okay. We know from MDA that regs are over folding by about 10 to 15% versus a bet 30. Okay. So I don't want to put my aces in the overbet line because I want him to play with me, right? I don't want to put value in the overbet line because they're going to fold too often. Okay, so theory wants to go bigger. Theory wants to overbet a lot of the time or go bet 75. We should not do this. We should go small because I want to play with my opponent. Okay, so in game I go small and my opponent calls. Okay, so let's follow along here. And the turn is a 7 of diamonds. Now this turn card's very interesting because it's not really great for my range, but a solver still wants to bet very often, but we have to look at incentives. Now let's look at turn MDA. We know from turn MDA that they overfold to an overbet, okay? They also overfold to a small bet. Now they're playing GTO to a bet 70, but let's go down to the bottom. What do we see from a call 30 bet? They're overstabbing on the turn by about 10%. Okay, so I'm incentivized to check my value because I want him to put money in the pot. Okay, because they're overdoing it. So we should be checking here. Okay, so let's follow along here. So I check in game and he bets. Okay, so he bets $10 into 1770. Now rake is not taken out, but let's just say it's 18. Okay, so let's say he bets around 55%. Okay, now a solver does not do this. A solver does not use these sizings, these smaller sizings, these half pots, these 1/3. It uses bigger sizing. It uses overbets. It uses bet 75. Okay, so when he bets 55% on the turn, he is telegraphing weakness. He's not telegraphing strength. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. So let's say in game, to keep it GTO friendly, he bets 75. Nothing else to do really but call. Now the river is a 5 of diamonds. Okay. Now nothing else to do except check to the big blind. So we check. Now he bets again. Okay. So let's see what sizing he uses this time. So here he bets 14 into, we'll say 38. Okay. So let's do 14 divided by 38. And he's betting around, let's say 1/3, okay? So he's betting around 1/3 on the river. Again, telegraphing weakness, okay? So with our aces that are underrepresented, we should, let's say he bet 36, we should always be raising for thin value, okay? It's a big mistake, not a big mistake, but it's a mistake to not raise here, okay? So let's set ace of clubs of ace of spades, take a peek. And we see it's like a half big blind mistake to not raise. Okay, so we decide to raise for thin value, as we should. But something happens. This is what happens. Watch this. I check raise, and he jams. This is a complete disaster, right? Complete disaster. So I check raise. Now he goes all in. Okay, now let's look at theory and see how much of a losing call this is. It's a huge losing call, almost 5 big blinds. Why is it a losing call? Because I don't block straights. I don't block sets. I don't block 2 pair. All hands that will be jamming, right? So I don't block any value, which is a problem. Okay. But we have to go to MDA. Okay. What do we know about call, bet lines? Oops. Call, bet lines in MDA. Well, let's go. So this is fish and this is regs. We're going to regs. Okay, remember, he called 30 on the flop. It doesn't distinguish on turn bet sizing, but we know on the river he went small. Okay, so we know this is over bluffed. Okay, so this is important. We know on the turn he went smaller than theory, which telegraphed weakness. Okay, then we know on the river this is an over bluff line. This is very important. Okay, so because this line is over bluffed, then this 3-bet jam becomes over bluffed because there's more weak data points than strong data points. The weak data point was the turn. He's not going to bet 55% with a lot of straights, with a lot of 2-pair. He's going to bet bigger. Then on the river, when he bets 1/3, he's not going to put sets, 2-pair, and straights in the bet 1/3 line. He's going to bet bigger. So he telegraphs weakness. And then when he realizes I'm capped, he tries to over bluff to get me off a hand like I have, aces, ace, king, right? So what we do here is we have to think, okay, he bets small in the turn. He bets small in the river. That means he has a weak range. So these data points are important. So when he tries to 3-bet jam, we have to go back to the original 2 data points. Then we realize in MDA, he's over bluffing and he has too weak of a range, and we make the call. And he has Jack-8 of clubs. Okay, guys, so it's very important to look at bet sizing. Bet sizing will give you a lot of indicators on if someone is over bluffing or under bluffing. So here we had 2 indicators. We knew the call bet line was over bluffed. We also knew the bet small, the bet 55, the bet 1/3 also over bluffed. Okay, so when he tries to 3-bet jam, we realize his range is too weak and that he's over bluffing. All right, guys, thought this was a cool hand. Please subscribe for more MDA content and content like this, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.